Hey everyone, David Ryshpan here. I just wanted to do a video about how to run an efficient recording session. I just did a session with an artist named Joyce N'Sana, who will be releasing her single on May 20th called Mama. I just finished wrapping the keyboards on that, as well as a few other songs that'll be part of her EP coming out later this year. And the whole process was really smooth, really efficient, and I wanted to just share with all of you how this session came about, how we organized this session, and the key elements that made it super productive, super quick, super efficient, and easy. So I was contacted by the producer, Sebastien Richer, who runs Joyce's production and management company called Holy Hills. And Sebastien sent me 6 songs with the pre-prod demos that they had. And he told me in an email exactly which keyboard parts to replace and which keyboard parts to ignore that they were going to keep from the pre-production. Most of what I covered was Wurlitzer, Rhodes, piano, and Hammond, all of the synthesizers they're going to keep from the pre-production. That first email greatly narrowed down what I needed to pay attention to, what I needed to learn, program, transcribe. I didn't need to worry about any of the synthesizer patches. I didn't need to program them. I didn't need to learn the parts. I just needed to focus on Hammond, Wurlitzer, Rhodes, and piano. So that made the process much clearer to me from the jump. I then went through all 6 of the songs. I made my lead sheets, my notes. I'm not saying that Western notation is the best way to document things. I am saying that it is the best way for me. I need the visual layout of the tunes on a session like this because that way I can just come in, look at my notes, know what parts I have to play, what the chord progressions are, what instruments I'm playing them on, and it just makes everything run smoothly. It also helps that I know the engineer at this studio, Planet Studios. The engineer, Jacob Lacroix-Cardinal, has been the engineer on a lot of sessions I've done here at Planet Studios over the past year or 2. So he knows the sounds I like, he knows how I work in a studio, and we have a really good working relationship, so that also made this session run really quickly and efficiently. Everything was plugged in and ready to go when I got here for the session, and we had 2 amazing assistants in the studio today, running cables, moving things around, getting coffee. Really, really important to have a good engineer that you trust and you know, if possible, as well as an assistant or 2 to be a second or third set of hands.
I don't think it's you. I think it's just the because it's distorting lightly. I feel like if I bring it down a bit.
Oh, I love it though. I'll just ride the volume pedal.
Okay, you like that distortion. I mean, I like it. I'm a fan of distortion. Don't get me wrong. I just don't want it to bug Seb. I think he likes it anyway.
You want a safety of just the last chorus? So after I went through and made my notes, I also had some ideas of things I wanted to add, things that originally Sebastien said to keep from the pre-production, and I just offered up that since I'm here, since we have the session booked, I should just replace or add other things. There were other things as Joyce and Sebastien got further into their own production that they realized they wanted me to add or change. And so we had all of these discussions before I got to the studio. Sometimes that kind of experimentation can happen in the studio, which is cool, but it ultimately makes for a longer session because you're making decisions on the spot. If you have the opportunity to prepare and make those decisions in advance, of course, things will happen in the moment as well. But if everyone can agree ahead of time what parts are to be played, to be replaced, what instruments, etc. All those production decisions, it leads to a much, much quicker session because everyone knows what the game plan is before the red light goes on. Because this session was focused on vintage electromechanical keyboards, I also asked Sebastien and Jacob what the state of the equipment was here at Planet. Planet is really good about maintaining their gear, but Hammond organs are very temperamental, Wurlitzers are very temperamental, Rhodes are more stable. But it has happened to me to be in this studio and other studios in town where the keyboard you want to use for the session is supposed to work, but it's down or it goes down in the middle of the session. So I just asked in advance what the status of the Hammond and the Wurlitzer were, considering those were going to be two linchpins of the session. I also brought my laptop and my controller just to have it as a backup if we needed, for whatever reason, to scrap the actual instruments here in the studio, but to still get the music done. So I did bring my laptop and my DI and my whole system just as a backup in case. We ultimately did not need to use any of those. Whatever you can have in pre-production or charts or material to send to your session musicians well in advance of the session, send them everything you can. Have open lines of communication about gear and parts well in advance of the session, and ensure that everybody does their homework. Once again, the first single, Mama, from Joyce N'Sana's new EP will be out on May 20th, and keep an eye out for the rest of the EP to come out later this year. Thanks to Daniel Sinelli, Jacob Cardinal, and all the assistants here at Planet, one of the great studios in Montreal. If you enjoy the content on this channel, please like and subscribe. You can follow me on other social media platforms, including Instagram and Facebook. And keep an eye out for my own records on Bandcamp and Spotify. Take care, I'll see you in the next video. Peace. That first email greatly narrowed down